Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm taking a look at an amazingly beautiful mall in my opinion, which also sadly appears to be yet another dying mall. This is Plymouth Meeting Mall in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. This mall opened in 1966. It was designed by Victor Gruen and built by the Rouse Company. The Rouse Company also owned the mall up until they sold it to Priet in 2003. According to what I read, the mall was supposed to be something of a utopian community where people could live, work, and play, kind of like Disney's Epcot. But the live part of this really never came to be, as there never was a residential aspect to this mall, even though the current owners are trying to get approval for a 503-unit apartment complex to be built on the property. However, the mall did add an office tower in 1969, a church, and of course plenty of shopping and entertainment options, so the work and play part of this mall did become a reality. And for those of you wondering, this was filmed on a Tuesday evening at about 6:45, so it was pretty late. This was the last mall I hit for the day, and as a result, some of the stores seemed to have been closed, and it just felt like they were getting ready to close up the mall for the night. But I was in the area, so I figured I had to come by and take a look. The original anchor stores of this mall were Strawbridge and Clothier and Lit Brothers, both of which are long out of business. And surprisingly, this mall never had a Sears or a JCPenney, believe it or not. Two things that really jumped out at me as being amazing and beautiful at this mall were these palm trees. Up in my area in the Northeast, at least for the malls I've been to, very few of them have palm trees nowadays, so that is unusual. And then this fountain. Most of the malls I go to don't have any fountains, and the ones that do have fountains generally are not that spectacular. Again, at least for the malls I've been to. And this fountain has been here since opening day in 1966, largely unchanged as far as I can tell. So now let's just take a minute and take in this fountain. And don't worry, I'll get plenty of other shots of that fountain later in the video. Straight ahead, this is where one of the two original anchor stores, Strawbridge and Clothier, was located from 1966 until it became the Macy's in 2006. The Macy's closed in 2017, and the current occupants, Burlington, Dick's, Michael's, and Edge Fitness, opened in 2019. For much of its life, this mall was generally considered to be successful, but it seems like the mall's been struggling for at least the last 20 years or so, especially over the last decade. Part of the reason for this is that this mall is very close to two other much larger and more successful malls, Willow Grove Park Mall, which I'll have a video on shortly, and King of Prussia Mall, which I hope to film in the not too distant future. King of Prussia is currently the third largest mall in the United States and has over 400 stores, compared to this mall, which has roughly 83 stores. Willow Grove Park Mall isn't nearly as big as King of Prussia, but it is substantially larger than this mall. And as a result, a lot of the potential customers for Plymouth Meeting Mall are opting to go to these two other nearby malls. And if you're from this area and you know these malls, let me know what you think about them in the comments. And don't forget, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up. Thanks. Up ahead here, they have those rideable animal go-karts, or whatever you want to call them. And I know I've said it before, but I think the next time I run into some of these at a mall, I'm going to take one for a ride. I think that would make a fun video. And of course, I've got to take a look at the arcade. This is Uncle Joe's Arcade, and I have to say, I was fairly impressed. This is a step above most mall arcades that I've been to. I mean, first off, you've got a Zoltar.
I see you over there. Yes, you. Come on over and let Zoltar be sharing with you your fortune.
Now, they do have a fair number of claw machines, which I'm not a fan of, but look at how many pinball machines they have. And, you know, I'm not an expert on pinball machines, but a lot of these seem to be older ones, classics from maybe the 70s, 80s, 90s, I would guess. And this one on the end is very old. these ones are a little bit newer, especially the one on the left, the Mandalorian, but the rest of them, they seem to be classic pinball machines. And they actually have a prize counter. I can't remember the last mall arcade I've seen that actually had a prize counter. Pretty cool. And they also use coins or tokens rather than that card system, which a lot of the arcades use nowadays. And that's a definite plus in my book. So yeah, once again, I'm very impressed with this arcade. Very nice. So up ahead here is Legoland, which opened in 2017. And I was kind of sad that it wasn't open. I really wanted to go and take a look around in here. It looked pretty amazing from the photos I saw online. But sadly, it looked like only the retail portion of it was open. I guess it had closed for the night at this point, or at least that's what it looked like. And then this carousel was added during the 1983 to 1984 remodeling of the mall. It used to be located closer to the Boscovs at the end of the hallway here, but I think it moved to its current location after another remodeling was done on the mall in 1996. And it also appeared to be closed down for the day. It's always good to see a music and movie store at a mall. They're becoming very uncommon. Straight ahead is where the second original anchor store, Lit Brothers, was located from 1966 until it closed in either 1976 or 77, depending on which source you want to believe. It was replaced by Hess's in 1979, which eventually closed in 1993 due to poor sales. And then this Boscov's moved in 1996. The mall also used to have a second water fountain that was located approximately where this play area is today. I'm not sure when the fountain was removed, but it was here until at least 1970, when there was an enormous fire that destroyed approximately 1/3 of the mall, mostly at this end. Amazingly, nobody lost their life. The fire broke out in the window of the King's Men's Shop, which I think is approximately where the Care Spa is today. You can see the fountain in some of these photos, and it's very possible that the fountain was destroyed in the fire because some of the photos do show the roof having actually collapsed on top of it. So if anybody knows if the fountain was destroyed in the fire or if it survived, and also if you have any information on how long it took to rebuild the mall after the fire, please let me know in the comments. Now I think this is technically considered the food court. Where Legoland is today, from what I understand, there used to be more restaurants in there. So nowadays the food court is only, it looks like maybe what, 2-3 restaurants? So it's pretty small as far as food courts go. But there are a lot of other restaurants scattered around this area, so I don't think it's a major problem. Now don't worry, I'm not leaving the mall yet. I just wanted to go outside real quick and take a look at this Lego giraffe. Very impressive. I was hoping to see more of that inside Legoland, but again, sadly, it was closed. Alright, so now getting back to how the mall's doing today. Another thing that really hurt this mall was the closure of the Macy's in 2017. As this mall only has 2 anchor stores, the closure of one of them is significant. And as a result, there was a major decline in mall traffic after the Macy's closed, which led to other non-anchor stores in the mall closing as well. While the mall did replace the Macy's in 2019, the mall doesn't really seem to have recovered yet. In fact, in 2023, the mall's owners filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection as they were almost $1 billion in debt. And as a result, they sold the Whole Foods portion of the mall in early 2023 to help pay off some of the debt. And also, they considered selling the rest of the mall too, but that never happened. However, I did read a few articles that indicated the likelihood that this mall will eventually be redeveloped into a mixed-use property, much like Oxford Valley Mall and numerous other malls. If or when that will happen, though, is still up in the air. Alright, so now let's head on up to the second floor.
But now I don't have to.
I've never seen this store before, Uncanny. It looks a lot like a Newbury Comics. If I lived in the area, that's probably the type of store I would go to most often. And then I guess this is a continuation of the food court. Here's a pretty amazing photo from 1966 showing the original fountain there, and also I think it was opening day for the Lit Brothers store that used to be in here. So as we walk around, you'll notice that there are a lot of closed stores here. And like I said earlier, this was filmed between like 6:45 and 7:15 or so, roughly. So I think some of these stores had just closed for the day, but a lot of them to me look vacant. But it's really hard to tell which is which. So if you know, again, please let me know that in the comments. So shockingly, this mall apparently has two music stores. They have the FYE downstairs, and then this place called the Rock Shop upstairs. That's very unusual nowadays. I mean, it's unusual to have even one music store, let alone two. And they've got a Chick-fil-A. I've actually never been to a Chick-fil-A because usually the time that I might go to a Chick-fil-A would be a Sunday, but they're closed on Sunday, so haven't been to one yet. And I was actually considering doing some videos on like restaurants like that, like Chick-fil-A, and then there's this new Raising Cane chicken place in my area. So if anybody wants to see, I don't want to say food reviews, but if you want to see like restaurant walkthroughs, restaurant reviews, let me know. Here's a photo taken from just about this same location back in either the late 60s or early 70s, I think. I just had to get more shots of this fountain. Here's a picture that was taken in that same location I was just at sometime back in the 60s or 70s. I have to apologize about this shaky cam. My GoPro is really bad in low light, and this hallway was really dark. I did get a new camera recently to replace the GoPro, which should theoretically get better low light footage than this, so hopefully this type of thing won't happen again in the future. Fingers crossed. Alright, so there's the inside of Plymouth Meeting Mall, but as usual, don't go anywhere yet. Next I'm going to do a drive around of the mall and we can see what's going on outside. I believe this used to be where Macy's was until these stores moved in 2019. And I think this is the section of the mall that was sold off in 2023. None of these stores here are accessible from inside the mall. This Whole Foods was added back around 2009 or so when they were doing another major renovation of the mall. And this section of the mall was supposed to be like an outdoor open air lifestyle center, as they called it. And I think this is probably what we'll see popping up at a lot more malls in the future. Coming up is that church I was talking about earlier. From what I understand, this was one of the first churches ever to be inside a mall. And then this is the office tower I was talking about. This was built in 1969. Here's the Boscovs, which was originally Litt Brothers, and then Hess's, and then it's been Boscov since 1996. Here's a picture of what it looked like back when it was Litt Brothers. And then this is what it looked like when it was on fire back in 1970. And then finally, this is the only picture or drawing I could find of it when it was Hess's. then here's the Burlington, which was originally Strawbridge and Clothier, then Macy's, and then finally Burlington starting in 2019. This whole area here to the left with Dick's and Michael's, this also used to be the Strawbridge and Clothier's and then Macy's. And there you have it. That was Plymouth Meeting Mall in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. Once again, I think it's a beautiful mall, but it's clearly dying. If you feel otherwise, please let me know in the comments. But if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up, as well as store walkthroughs and, of course, flea markets. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.